Oh, hey, what's happening there, YouTube? It's Brian House here for Housework, and today we are going to be testing out and installing some space-age technology on the Revolution 2x72 belt grinder. This was a super cool project, and I gotta tell you that I am super excited to see how this device will revolutionize your 2x72 belt grinding experience. Now, a little ways back, a buddy of mine on Facebook on the DIY Belt Grinders and Machines group, his name is Daryl. He's out in Kansas. He's got a long history of working with avionics and in the airline industry and building things. He's one of those mad geniuses that's working in his basement. He has developed the Heretic Dominator tracking mechanism, and he just reached out and said, "Hey man, will you show it off? I'm going to send it to you and put it on your channel." I said, "Absolutely. I've heard nothing but good things." So many people have purchased these and put them on their grinders and posted photos in that group that I knew this was a really cool high-tech piece of gear. Now, Daryl and I are going to be partnering up on this, and you will be able to purchase one of these right through housemade.us. Now, if you go to my website, housemade.us, you're going to check that out. You're going to see all the stuff that's available out there. One of the things that we've been working on for the last 2 years is the Revolution 2x72 belt grinder project. That was a project that started right here on YouTube and then ultimately just grew up into actually its own business. You can buy pieces, parts, and plans. You can build your own grinders right through that website. You can download the plans and you can purchase kits. Now, that project has revolutionized my life and changed how I do almost everything. Every day I wake up and think about grinders and think about how to improve them and how to build new ones and do all kinds of stuff. And Daryl, he's the same kind of guy, man. He is one of those types of people that wakes up every day and thinks about how he could design and build something that would change the way people use this kind of tooling. So Daryl, thanks for sending me this unit, and I'm looking forward to see what we can do together. All right, guys, let's get this tracking mechanism installed, and let's give it a shot. All right, let's take a quick gander at the actual device. This is all the things you get in the box, basically. These right here, the drills and the taps, these are mine. But Daryl sends you this fantastic little adjustable handle, all the Allen wrenches you need, a washer, and a bolt. That's how simple this thing is to install. One of the things initially when I looked at this, I was a little bit intimidated. I'm seeing all this sort of mechanism type stuff in here, and honestly, I am not smart enough to fully understand what is going on here. However, what I have discovered is that the simplicity of not only the installation, but also the use of this device. Daryl has created something here that is something that I would have never dreamed up. The way that this machine works is that there is a slide here. Now this knob, when you turn it, it pushes and pulls these two little connectors that go up inside of the device and then tilt the wheel on an access point. Now, in normal tracking, the access point is like somewhere up here for the actual point of pivot. But on this device, the point of pivot is right here. And later on in this video, we are going to discuss how and why that is important when we start looking at advanced tracking mechanisms for 2x72 belt grinders. What this also does is it replaces the knob that's needed for the actual tracking mechanism that comes with the Revolution Gen 4 kit. So basically it will retrofit on any Revolution grinder. You can use the existing tooling arm. There's no need to build a new tooling arm. This will just fit right on top and where it needs to go. All right, real quick, let's go over what you're going to need to make this installation happen. I like to have a welding pencil. You got all the gear that Daryl sends in the package. Punch to make your marks. You're going to need 2 taps, a 1024 and a 1/420, and the corresponding drill bits to make that happen. And then also, like I said before, you can use the standard Revolution tracking arm. You don't need to make a whole new one. You can use one. Even if you've got your holes drilled in it, it will work. This is a fresh one that I just made, but yeah, you can use your existing one. All right, we're going to put the tracking arm in the vise here. give us a nice good work surface to work on, and we can demonstrate how I'm going to set this up. Now, this device can be mounted either way, top or bottom. I prefer the top because the OEM Revolution grinder, the wheel would really be sitting about here anyway. This is a little higher, but it won't matter at all. Now, you got a couple of considerations here. You got a hole here and you got a slot here. In this case, the slot goes in the back. We are going to use this front hole as a pivot point in case we ever have to shift this thing left to right. And in this case, obviously, the wheel is going to be on this side anyway, because if you built your Revolution as a right-handed grinder, this has to sit over here. One of the things I love about this system is how versatile and how easy it is to mount. Not just on the Revolution. This is a very simple setup. You can see just one hole here and one slot there. So very simple to set up, and I am going to make my marks. I'm going to just mark it off right in the center of the arm here. My welding pencil. And then right here in the center here. Not going to overthink it. All right, let's drill and tap some holes. So this front pivot hole, this is a 1024 tap, and this back one's a 1/4-20. Pretty straightforward. Let's drill and tap this. I don't know if you guys remember me telling you about how I like to buy my taps cheap, and I buy them from Harbor Freight and Walmart or whatever. Just want to give you an example of how that doesn't always apply to all of those tools. This is the Harbor Freight tap handle that that comes with the kit. Now, I will say I have tapped like, hundreds of holes with this thing, but yeah, the other day when I was filming, she broke. So I went ahead and spent a little money and upgraded my tap handle to a Starrett. This is a 91C. Super happy with this. Like, this makes me, I don't know. There's just something so sexy about this damn thing. I don't even know what to say about it, but I'll tell you what. I love this thing. I will put a link down in the description if you decide you want to upgrade your tap handle too. Yeah. 100% worth the money I spent on this. All right, let's tap some holes. Oh yeah. Don't you love a good hole? Good tapped hole. Yeah. Ooh, hey. All right, so now we got our holes tapped. We're gonna grab our mechanism, set her on top here, and this pivot bolt, mount that down. We're not going to tighten it down too much. We want it to be able to pivot a little bit, but we're going to seat it down in, and we do provide all the tooling for this, so you don't really need to buy a whole lot of, I'm sure you guys probably have Allen wrenches laying around anyway, but most of the Allen wrenches are included. And then we're going to put this adjustable handle on the back here. So put that in place with the washer. And if you lift up on this adjustable handle portion, you can use a drill and set it right into place. And now you should be able to swing it left to right and lock it down. Man, is that slick. What a great system. All right, now that we have it all set up on the tracking arm, let's go ahead and install it on the Revolution. So as you can see, it fits perfectly. There's very little difference in the tensioning of the spring and everything. The weights are really similar. Even though this is a steel wheel and not aluminum, the weight of the mechanism versus the original mechanism is actually fairly close. So yeah, it fits on there like it was designed to be on there. A little more tension on the belt here. Wow, man, right out of the gate. We haven't done any adjustment to this, by the way. This is just how I set it up and just how I plugged it in, and it's really close to perfect already. So I'm going to dial it in just a little bit to get it to travel across the platen here. I think one of the most interesting things about building these machines is the tracking. You know, you start to understand, you know, the physics behind moving a belt from here to here to here, all the way around the whole 6-foot span of this belt. And the more complicated you make it isn't always the better. I mean, you know, if you really look at what we have going on here, this tracking mechanism is kind of designed to keep this belt just riding right on the front and going across. And because the pivot point is actually in the center of the wheel, when you turn this dial, the wheel doesn't swing in and out like on a traditional tracking mechanism. Okay, so it affords the belt a lot more real estate on the wheel, and it doesn't have to tweak the belt to make it track. It actually tweaks the wheel instead of the belt. That's the important part here. So one of the benefits of having a steel tracking wheel on this thing is that your little magnetic level will actually sit on it. And what I like to do is get a reading off of your motor plate. So I'm going to go ahead and zero this out on my motor plate, or at least get it close. And then I'm going to take and place it up on the actual wheel itself. And my goal is to get these two to match as close as possible. So right now we're at 0.06 and this is 0.03. So that's pretty close. Now in forward, it should track right across the platen face here because what my goal is here is to get this as level as possible, get this wheel as level as possible with this drive wheel, because if I can get 2 of the 4 wheels all kind of situated and proper, then I know all I have to do is twist the top tracking mechanism, which is the reason for the slot in that plate that mounts to the tracking arm. Once I have that done, then I know that I can get this thing to track forward and reverse. So let's give it a forward shot and just see where we're at. So in forward, you can see we're tracking right across the front of the platen face. Now, when I switch this to reverse, the goal is to get this as close as possible. And she nests right back to that same position. You can see the belt kind of move, you know, twist and move, and that's because we're in perfect alignment from here to here to here. And that is really easily achieved using Daryl's Heretic Dominator tracking mechanism. Now, if you're having trouble getting this to adjust, you can twist this entire mechanism just like you would on the Gen 4 original tracking mechanism that comes with a kit. It's the exact same concept. However, this makes it so much simpler to tune. So I've had a chance to really play around with the tracking mechanism the last couple of days. I've had it installed, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to grab like an old, just old VSM belt that's kind of been sitting around for a while just to see if I can get it to track. Now, if you've got any old belts laying around, you know that they get stretched over time. They, you know, essentially I keep them around for just like handle work and doing whatever. But they're typically harder to get to track. So I thought, you know what, this will be a great challenge to see what the Heretic Dominator tracking mechanism can do. And now check this out. This is forward. Go all the way up. And I'm just going to switch it right over to reverse. That is impressive. All right, real quick, let me just show you what is actually occurring when you turn this knob. Remember in the beginning of the video, I talked about the pivot point being about right here, which is in the center of this axle point. So if I dial this wheel, this knob, if I turn it, you can see what's happening is this slide is moving that way if I roll it forward. If I go backwards, the slide pushes everything this way. And because the pivot point is right here instead of up top, the wheel doesn't have to do anything but what you see here, which is pivoting to a point where it's not pulling and twisting the belt. That's a really cool feature. I mean, it is truly a work of art also. Again, I will stress, this isn't necessary. This is kind of a, you know, of course, a huge upgrade to any grinder. But Daryl has put so much thought and energy into this that it just is such a cool piece to have, and I'm just truly appreciative of that. And again, like I said, you can go to the website, housemade.us, and you can find one and buy one for your own grinder. It doesn't have to be Revolution. You can have this on just about any grinder you can think of. So yeah, so that's the science behind this right here, the mechanics of this. I mean, look how much I can get it to roll over. I mean, that's ridiculous. You'll never use that, but wow, how cool is that? Let's go the other way. Let's set it back to 0. Right about there. Throw a belt on it. And she comes to life. Throw it in reverse. One of the things I really want to make sure you understand is that this is like a very, this is the Rolls Royce, the Bentley of every tracking mechanism ever designed. It is not necessary, but one of the things I really like about it is if your grinder, whether it's a Revolution or a home-built grinder, it has trouble tracking forward and reverse, this will most likely be your solution. Also, if you're doing really fine grinding and you don't want any belt wobble, you can achieve that with this setup here. So these are like minor tunes and tweaks that really take your grinding levels from down here all the way up if you've got a little bit of a wonky setup. Now, if you built the Revolution and it's tracking fine forward and reverse, stick with that. You know, this is a great option for somebody that maybe is having trouble with that feature. So, you know, I really want to preface it with this was a fun project. I really enjoyed doing it. Again, it's 100% optional. So if you got something out of today's video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. And if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And if you click that little bell, you'll get a notification every time I upload something to YouTube. There's many ways to support my channel. There's Buy Me a Coffee, Patreon. You can go to the website, housemade.us, and you can purchase pieces, parts, and plans to the Revolution 2x72 belt grinder project. You can go on Facebook and find that DIY belt grinders group. You can listen to the podcast, the Work For It podcast, on any major podcast platform. All of those are great ways to support everything I do to keep me making content right here in my workshop and studio. It was really fun hanging out with you guys, and I really do hope that I will see you on the next video. My name is Brian House, and this has been Housework.